Hello everyone, and welcome to Taking the Stairs. So today I want to talk to you about difficulty, and specifically I'd like to talk to you about something that I call the tension of difficulty. Because I think right now a lot of us are experiencing a lot of difficulty, particularly when it comes to doing work, schoolwork, staying active, or being productive. Because I think the better we can understand the tension of difficulty, then the better we can overcome it. So when I say the phrase tension of difficulty, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean when I talk about the tension of difficulty is that feeling that you get when you're doing something difficult. It can feel like a sense of unease. It's certainly a uncomfortable feeling, a feeling of discomfort. And it is something that makes you feel like you just don't want to do this right now. And that's a good feeling to recognize and understand, because oftentimes when we are doing something new, doing something that we know we are not good at, when we do something that is challenging, our automatic cognitive reaction is to just stop it, to stop doing it, to find something else to do. And in extreme circumstances, we might even call this fear. Now, typically when we encounter that feeling of discomfort when we're doing something new or challenging, our first instinct is to not do it, to put it off, to procrastinate. And that is never really a solution to the problem. If you think back to all the difficult things you've always done in your life, I imagine that you'll find that every time you encountered a difficulty, it was incredibly uncomfortable for you. And that's that tension I'm talking about, that struggle within to overcome this difficulty. And for the most part, sometimes we can find that it's just easier not to do. It's easier to not really put your best work in. Like one way I see this in my teaching is when I spend a lot of time developing a skill with my students, and then I give it to them to practice. And then some students just do good enough. And good enough is never really good enough. Good enough is just you saying, this is too difficult for me to really put 100% of my effort in, and so I'm just going to do this, and this is good enough. Good enough is never good enough. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to be your best effort. And of course, that is challenging. Overcoming the challenge of that discomfort, that challenge of unease when you are just not really feeling confident about what you're doing. And that's okay. That is being a human. We are constantly encountering difficult situations, and they make us feel uncomfortable. And the easy way is to simply say, I'm not going to do that. The difficult way is to feel that feeling of discomfort, that feeling of unease, and to say to yourself, I see you. I know that feeling. I know what you are. That is just me feeling difficulty. And when you recognize that feeling, what you should ask yourself is, what am I trying to avoid? Why am I avoiding this? What good can come from me avoiding this? And I think when you're able to simply recognize that feeling and embrace it and say to it, I feel you. You can get through it. You can move on. You can do the thing even though you don't want to, at least you feel like you don't want to, even though it feels difficult and it feels uncomfortable. That's just your body saying, this is something new. And that's okay. That's being a person. That's living in the real world and experiencing real feelings. So my challenge to you is for the next week, every time you get that sensation, when you feel your hand drifting towards your cell phone, when you see your mouse cursor moving up to open a new tab, to do something else, to go somewhere else, to avoid what it is you're supposed to do, recognize that feeling That is just difficulty. This is what difficult feels like. And it's okay. It's okay that things are difficult. But you can become a better person when you embrace that difficulty. And when you say to that difficulty, I will overcome you. Because it comes with practice. Just like anything, any sport, any activity, any skill, you get better with practice. And if we spend our whole lives avoiding difficulty, then you never develop a resilience to the tension of difficulty. And I believe that all of you can overcome it. You just need to get comfortable with that feeling and realize it's just a feeling. And you can get through it. So thank you for joining me on the stairs today, everyone. And I hope that you will, throughout the week and going forward, just try to recognize that feeling. And every time you feel uncomfortable doing something that you don't want to do, embrace that feeling and work to overcome it. Because the more you work to overcome it, the easier it will be. And that's what being a person is all about.